Hey guys, I'm actually in Washington in America, although you wouldn't know it. It just looks like I'm in a park. But right behind me is Congress. You know that beautiful, amazing white dome? And over there is a whole lot of American flags. And I am in Washington, D.C. It is November. I'm here for Thanksgiving, where I'm going to go to Philadelphia next and then over to see my sister in Brooklyn, New York. But first, we're going to cover quite an interesting topic, which I'm answering some of the questions you guys asked me, which is how can I build confidence from an investor on my very first deal? So we're going to cover that in very simple, easy to follow steps so that you too, if you're brand new to property or brand new to working with investors, you can build confidence and find the money and get started in property. But let me introduce myself. I'm Susannah Cole. I run this YouTube channel, so please like and subscribe because it'll give you all the videos first. You won't miss any. Have a look at the playlists. They're divided into like deal sourcing, flipping, finding investors, and then make sure you don't miss out. You want to pop on over to my website. It's called thegoodpropertycompany.co.uk. It is stacked full of brilliant, immediately downloadable packs, 60-day academies, webinars, everything you need, and you can get started immediately because I spent a lot of time working on it for you to get going in property. Why? Because I want to translate my £45 million worth of property experience into knowledge, information, processes for you so you can get started while I go for a coffee in Washington. I had pumpkin cheesecake last night, and I'm really feeling around Thanksgiving that it's my honor and duty to go for another pumpkin cheesecake this morning, don't you think? I'm off to Georgetown later on for a food tour, which would be amazing. So, the question, how can I build confidence from an investor on my very first deal? It's simple. You professionalize. You show yourself as a professional human being who's done their homework, okay? So, what we used to do was deal reports. We used to be about 7 to 10 pages. If you join some of my education, like the deal sourcing pack or 60-day deal sourcing academy, in fact, any of my academies, you'll get all the deal sourcing reports for free. So go into my website and you'll be able to download them, thegoodpropertycompany.co.uk. But let me talk you through what was in a deal sourcing report. Page 1 would be the deal number. Don't be embarrassed about your first deal, deal 001. Mine was deal 001 Grove Road. Bought for 164. It was worth 240 at the time with an £8,000 refurb. What a good deal it was. And I sold it to an estate agent. So there you go, guys. A complete beginner was able to sell a discounted deal to a man who owned an estate agency company. Why? Because the deal was really good. So your deal number is the first thing. Then you put the street name, but not the full address. Then you put your headline. So what discount, what you're buying it for, what it's worth, done up. So before refurb, put in brackets before refurb. What discount in cash, what discount in percentage, and then what the rental opportunities are, whether it's a single let, a multi-let, a service accommodation, and depending on, you might only have 2 of them, like a single let and service accommodation. You may have multi-let as well, depending on how big it is and what the location is. So you put the rental income for those 3. That's going to attract an investor straight away. You get a 75 grand, 100 grand discount, they're interested. Next, you put a photograph. And then you put a little description of the property. It's a 3-bed, 2-bed, 1-bed, whatever it is. Okay, built out of whatever, with a garden, without a garden, close. Then you put a description of the location. So this area is great for students. So here are the links. Here are the transport links. Here's the shopping. Here's the entertainment. Then you put a map of where the property is. Then you put a broader description of your town or city. So, I found all my deals in Bristol. So I'd be talking about Bristol. There's 440,000 people, 2 universities, multiple colleges, great people from London come over. So we get brain drain and our house prices stay high, great economics, great jobs, that kind of thing. So a description of your town or city, what the population is and what the kind of economic prospect is of that town or city. Then have a description of the works. Now, I never used to put a price in for the works because if you're selling it on as a discounted deal, well, your investor might choose a different builder or decide to do more works. If you're going to joint venture, then later on you'll be able to get an exact fixed price cost of the works, okay, yourself, because you'll be managing that process. But don't put a cost of works in if you're not managing the process, because they might come up with a different cost and then they'll turn around and go, but you said, and you're like, yeah, but You built a 3-story extension. Yeah, dilly. Next, what I want you to do is your comparables. Now, this is the real reason why an investor would trust you on your very first deal, because you've done your research, you've done your homework. I want you to phone up 5 estate agents and say, hey, Susannah here. I've got a house, number 1 High Street. It's 3 bedrooms. What do you think it's worth done up? What have you sold comparable? And then you put their phone number, their name, and their range of what they say. You know, if they say 180 to 200, you put 180 to 200. Put 5 of them in. Then you look up 20 that have been sold. So sold normally in the last year to year and a half, normally within roughly a 1/4 mile radius, and make sure they're for the same size of property. You put it in a spreadsheet. You get that up from Rightmove, Zoopla, Mouse Price, Calnea Pro. Then you put 20 on the market or sold subject to contract. Obviously, same thing, the address, what it's the asking prices, because of course you don't know how much it's sold for yet, and you put that in a spreadsheet. You can get that from Rightmove or Zoopla. Of course, on the sold and the sold subject to contract, you can actually get photographs. So we used to like to put those photographs as well, so you could see like for like. And then you put your rental comparables. Again, get 20 rentals. You know, look on Rightmove, Zoopla, for rent or recently rented, rent agreed. Get 20 of them, put them in a spreadsheet, put the photographs in as well. Like, you know, the little, just the profile picture of the property. And then you'll find, do you see how you've built this amazing report? The investor doesn't care whether you've done this 50 million times or once. You've evidenced that your discounted deal is a discounted deal and they're going to make a lot of money. And then your final page will simply be how much cash it's going to take to actually buy this property. So your fee, depending on what your fee is, if you're deal packaging, obviously, or maybe you're joint venturing, and the deposit, assuming they're on a 75% loan to value mortgage. And then the next step, which is call me. Here's my phone number. This is how to secure the deal. Now, if you produce deal reports like that, and if you consistently and kind of religiously produce deal reports like that, an investor will trust you on the very first deal. But also what's kind of important is they then become, if you like, historical documents for you. So as and when you get to meet new investors, even though you've sold those previous deals, you can then start to show the investors previous deals you've done, their same format, it's an understandable format, and the investor's like, and if they want to really check you out, which I strongly suggest they do, they can then start looking up those addresses and go, oh yeah, that did sell for this. Oh yeah, you were right, you know? And so it doesn't just persuade the first investor to work with you, it builds historical data. So like by the time you've done 10 deals, you're like, here's my 10 last deals. It's like a no-brainer. You're good at working with investors and good at finding discounted deals. So the trust gets easier and easier to build. But on deal number 1, I want you to professionalize. Now, final tip is also think about not just the deal presentation, which is what I've covered mainly, but also a brochure about you. So I've got some for you to download on my website under the deal packager or the legal agreements. Whether you're doing joint venture, I've got joint ventures and brochures for you to download, or deal packager contracts and brochures for you to download. And the website's thegoodpropertycompany.co.uk. I don't mind if you copy my brochure and copy my legal agreements word for word. It's completely up to you. But you'll get to see the very simple marketing brochures, you know, about us, FAQs, what the process is, your next step, and obviously we had the property ombudsman, so we were with a property redress scheme, so and our contact details. And then the final thing, and I've touched on this briefly, is make sure you've got contracts. If you want to work with investors and you don't even have there's a fantastic red car going by, very American, and you don't even have a contract, why would an investor even think that you were taking yourself seriously, let alone they would take you seriously? So again, if you're going to be a deal packager, you can get it from my website, thegoodpropertycompany.co.uk. If you want to borrow borrow money, I've got the exact loan agreements I used on my website for you to download. Or if you want to joint venture, again, the exact legal agreements I used for you to download. Because if you take yourself seriously and professionally, produce deal reports, produce a very brief, simple, step-by-step marketing brochure of who you are, what you do and how they can work with you, and then produce legal agreements, you're the full package. And if you're the full package, like almost every single person that I know that got successful in property did so by doing work with investors. Be the full package. Get yourself ready. Now, I know you'll be nervous. I was super ridiculously nervous when I first started. Now, well, I don't barely work anymore. I'm financially free and I'm traveling the world. But I loved, you know, by the time I got experienced, I really loved working in property with investors, because there were, I mean, you know, one or two you would not work with again and could see far enough. But generally, they were just a brilliant bunch of positive, go for it, interesting people to hang out with, who were wanting to do something in their lives, and you were going into partnership with somebody of that brilliant attitude. It was a real pleasure to work with them. So I hope that you enjoy working with your investors, and I hope this fairly lengthy, but hopefully you've taken loads of notes, video has been super useful to you. I am off for a cafe now, I think, in Washington. I'm doing an afternoon food tour. It's Sunday. I'm just going to noodle around the city, and I want you to do your homework. So like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, because you'll get all the good YouTube videos, and I've got loads planned for you, but also have a really good look out on my website. It's called thegoodpropertycompany.co.uk. I've got loads on there that you can download straight away, like I was telling you about, for investors, stuff for flipping, stuff for deal sourcing, stuff for getting started. It's instant access education based on the £45 million worth of property that we worked on. So we're both winning, aren't we? Good luck to you. You definitely can do it. Bye just now. All right, if you want to know more about raising private finance, over here you can click on and download immediately my fundraising pack. It is stacked full of everything I use to raise millions of pounds. Well worth downloading now.